Fabricating a dorsal wrist orthosis for carpal tunnel syndrome. Your client has moderate carpal tunnel syndrome and is hoping to avoid surgical intervention. He works as an editor for a publishing company and works on his computer all day. His physician has ordered an orthosis for him to wear all day and all night, and specially asked for a design that will allow the client to use his keyboard while wearing the orthosis. We chose a dorsal-based wrist orthosis so that our client could comfortably wear his orthosis and successfully type on his computer while at work. This design will position the wrist in slight extension, which will enable decompression of the median nerve and the tendons and allow rest recover of all the inflamed structures within the narrow space.
As we begin, the first thing to do is to draw the pattern to the client's hand. Next, we will cut the pattern out. Highlighted in yellow is the outline of the design. Following, we will check to see if the pattern we cut out properly fits the client's hand. Lastly, you will use the paper towel to trace the design onto the thermoplastic material. Next, we will activate the material enough for us to cut it. The thermoplastic material we used for this design is North Coast Preferred 1/8 inch solid. We chose this material specifically because it has a moderate degree of rigidity and resistance to stretch. This is important when stabilizing the wrist in slight extension, as the material is thick enough to resist movements but can stretch enough to form around the wrist. Lastly, you will see the finished cutout design on the material. Next, we will activate the material fully and begin molding. It is important to keep in mind the activation time is average, which is about 30 seconds to 1 minute, so you do not want to under or overheat the material. Once the material is activated, you want to ensure that it is cool enough for the client to tolerate. Make sure the client's elbow is on the table and the wrist is in approximately 10 to 15 degrees of extension. As you are molding, you want to clear the distal palmar crease and allow the MCP joints to be free for extension.
We'd make sure to smooth out all the edges on the orthosis to ensure that no sharp edges would poke the client. In addition, adjustments were made by adding padding to any bony prominence and pressure areas. We also added a rivet and a strap on the orthosis. We did this to ensure that there would be no insecurity while wearing the orthosis.
Next, you're going to peel off the sticker of your Velcro and use the heat gun to heat it up for about 5 seconds. And then you're going to stick it onto one on the wrist and the smaller two on the side of the forearm, like so. Next, you're going to add the straps that you cut out previously onto the orthosis and make any adjustments as needed.
This is our final product. We provided a dorsal, volar, ulnar, and radial view so that you can see the entire orthosis on our client. Keeping in mind, this dorsal wrist orthosis is specifically to help alleviate the moderate carpal tunnel symptoms our client is experiencing, and in addition to our client being able to fully function at work on his computer while wearing this type of orthosis. Alright, so Nick, today Sakari and I had molded for you this orthosis to help alleviate some of those carpal tunnel symptoms that you're experiencing, the tingling, the numbness, the pain. So I want to go ahead and see if you can put this on for me and take it off. As you're doing that, I'm going to kind of go over the wearing schedule expectations. We want you to wear it day and night and at work as much as you can. We're aware that that's a lot to be wearing it, but just keep in mind, the more you wear this, the more quickly those symptoms will be alleviating. Okay. So Sakari's going to go over some of the care for the orthosis, and then we'll continue.
Yeah, as far as caring for the orthosis, you can use water and soap, disinfecting wipes to clean the orthosis. As far as showering, you can go ahead and take it off if needed, if you don't want to get it wet. You want to make sure that you keep it away from any like heat exposure, and that includes like a hot car, the stove or the dishwasher, anywhere that it's like like any places that's like flammable or any heat exposure, it's best to keep away. And as far as if you have any pets, it's important that you keep it away from the pets, just because the material, they tend to chew on it and it can ruin the orthosis.
Do you have any questions for us?
No, I think you guys pretty much covered all the basics of it. What about if I have any pressure areas, any redness? I know sometimes that can happen.
Yeah, so if you're experiencing, I mean, like I said, we did our best to add the padding and some moleskin to the areas that you were currently feeling pressure sores. But if you do, call the clinic. We'll try to get you in as quick as we can, and we'll make those adjustments as needed. Is that the only question you have for us?
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Okay.
That sounds good. Well, you take care, and we'll see you on our next session.